So you've been at Girlz Inc. for a few months. So before Girlz Inc., you were an artist. You were on your own, well on your way. You were doing really beautiful ombre brows. It's not like you started doing really good ombre brows when you got to Girlz Inc. You were already doing really good, pretty ombre brows. That's why I brought you on as an artist here. Right. You were an independent contractor paying rent. So all your client money was your client money. You were not on commission.
Right.
I was very upfront with you. Mm-hmm. You'll be on commission.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. I thought, you might, you know, walk away from that because you're already independent. So what, and I've never asked you this. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm certainly not going to ask,
in front of 10,000 people.
Yeah.
You're asking now.
Right. So why would you make the decision to leave an independent position and come to a studio where there's other artists and talented artists where you were going to be put on commission?
Right. So transparency time. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. So to break it down, first off, I was by myself in a 10 by 13 almost. I was there for roughly about 2.5 to 3 years, and I learned a lot, but I would come in, take my clients, and I would leave. The girl next to me is a lash tech. The girl down the way is a hairstylist. Mm-hmm. Then we have nail techs. The first aspect of it is that it was really lonely.
Okay.
And, you know, with my headache clients and the things that were a little bit more on the crazier side, you know.
Your pain in the ass clients.
Yeah. Yeah. They were pain in the ass clients.
We all have them.
Yeah. Whenever I had any issues, I didn't really have anybody to bounce on except for the permanent makeup Facebook groups, which are just, you know, wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
they can be.
They can be really insightful, but, you know, I feel like there's just a really weird shift lately with those, even a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But,
yep.
You know, when you kind of go through it on your own and you're not really in an environment where you know there's other women or men, because there's really good male artists too who do ombre brows or just any form of permanent makeup, and you don't really have that environment where, you know, we're all in this together, it can get really hard.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the commission part, I had a really hard time having the guts to raise my prices.
Yeah, your prices were really low.
They were
like you were charging, was it $250 or $300?
$250 for virgin and $350 for correction.
And here we're like $550, $550.
Right.
Which is not even considered like the high end of pricing. I think it's medium high, right? Which reflects our skill level here, I think, you know. So
taking over 1,000 clients already. I've had over 1,000 appointments. So whether that be initial or touch up or removals or, you know, just about anything. And I still had that price point, and I took the chance and I signed on to here, and immediately, you know, getting to a better price point, I think I've gotten such a better demographic of clientele. They're a lot more respectful. They're a lot more patient. They don't have unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
And also, I just really love being at the shop, and I've been able to find, you know, kind of more of a really good community, and something that probably isn't too big of a deal, but it really was for me, is that I am around tomboy women, and I've always
Are you talking about me, Ren?
It's, you know, I feel like all of us have that a little bit, you know, hyper feminine salons were really hard for me.
I you know what, or I know what you mean, like really super feminine or real medical, sterile, spa-like. Yeah, that's not my jam either. And a lot of my friends, you know, my really good colleagues, that's what their studios look like. They're either super femme
and
or
they're beautiful.
Yeah, and they're beautiful, and it's them, or it's super spa-like, like white and spa-like, or very medical feeling, and that's them, and it suits them. But me, I always kind of looked at, you know, I always wanted my studio and the way I kind of vibed to be more tattooey, little rock and roll, little
Yeah.
edgy, but ultimate professionalism, ultimate skill. Um, the professionalism at its highest, combining that with the look of more traditional tattooing and
Right.
a little edgy look and rock and roll.
Yeah.
That's more my vibe.
Me too.
Yeah.
It was really funny because, and I don't know if I've ever shown you pictures, but the old place that I used to have, so I had the Tatzel hydraulic pink chair in my room. That was my bed, the non-electric
Okay.
one. And I had my tattoo artist. I want to give a shout out to Mateo Coria. He's a really good artist here in Vegas. He did graffiti on my wall for my entire logo, and I painted my walls black. It was a very like you're saying, kind of like a rock and roll. You walk in, but once you get out of that room, it's just such a weird, different environment.
Yeah.
And I did feel a little bit like a sore thumb, getting treated like a sore thumb a little bit too, and it was just hard dealing with that. And I always encourage anybody to get more into a community with artists, even if you're not working with them like right beside each other, you're not next door neighbors, but you have to find your community. I remember right before I signed the contract, because it took me 2 weeks to really think about it, and then I emailed you guys.
It's a big commitment, and I want everybody to really, really think about it, because once you sign on the dotted line a contract, you're in that contract for that amount of time, right? And so you're committing yourself. So it's a big deal. And I don't make, and I don't pretend it's not. I think even during my interviews, I tell them, really think about this.
Yeah.
Because, once you sign this, you're a part of Girlz Inc. for this amount of time.
And I was getting a haircut. It was right before Thanksgiving, and I was telling my hairstylist about it. And I said, I just have this really big opportunity, but I don't know. I mean, and she said, it's not any different in ownership to you. And she encouraged me by saying, the best way to describe it is that being a sole contractor is where an artist goes to die. That's a big term. And so she was telling me that, and I asked her what she meant. And she said, just all creativity just goes out the window. You don't really have more of a team. You're alone. You have a team. You're not learning any of the new techniques. You're not learning anything new, or nobody's giving their input with you, or, constructive criticism. It's just, you hit a plateau.
Yeah.
And I really did feel like I hit a plateau for about a good year because, back in 2022, I didn't take any trainings, and I was training other people. I've taught about 50 people last year, but I hit kind of a plateau creatively myself, and I felt bored.
Right. Well, now you're a part of like a collective, and what I think is, I think now you're in a good position, Ren, to where not only will you be inspired, but now you're in a position to also inspire.
Right.
Because we have apprentices, right? I mean, we have 6-month apprentices.
Yeah.
Couple, Felicia and Ari and Trish, and a couple of them are going into their 3rd month, and now you're sitting back there. I see you get them on latex and showing them this and showing them that, and you're giving them tips.
Yeah,
and I
they're
think
so good.
that is
Catching on really
equally as important for growth, to evolve as an artist, to be able to inspire, newbies and young artists as it is to be inspired. I think you're in a great place now, where you are in your career for now. I think this you'll end up looking, no matter how long you stay here, the term of the contract or longer, your time here, I think you'll end up looking back at it as a great experience.
Yeah.
And you'll take that with you for the rest of your career and your life. That's how I want Girlz Inc. to be for artists. I love artists.
Yeah.
And paying it forward and inspiring and being inspired. Even now, 22 years in my career, I crave to be inspired. I want to be inspired by others, and having young artists like yourself inspire me, and I get to be inspiring at the same time. So it's a beautiful It's a beautiful give and take, I
Right.
think. So, yeah, and I was, and so, so you had to do a little thinking. 2 years is the right place for me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And I was a little unsure about you too, because you were a little quirky. Well, not about your talent. I'm like, okay, this girl is talented, but I think me and Kat, okay, she's a little weird, a little odd, awkward, a little, don't get offended.
Oh, I was sweating bullets
You were
walking into that
sweating
interview.
and you were fidgety.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what is this girl on? Is she on something? Is she just like
No.
socially awkward? Like, what is going on with it? And I think during the interview, I even asked you, are you okay?
Yeah. It was so funny because you were literally in the middle of your sentence and then you just looked right at me and was like, "Hey, how you doing back there?"
Yeah, like, are you okay?
I was
You looked uncomfortable. You know what you looked like? You looked like you had to go pee or something.
Yeah.
And like you were fidgeting and like you wanted to like get up and leave, but you didn't. And
Oh, honey,
you
I
were
felt like I had to pee like 10 times before it, but every time I tried it, I couldn't. It
Yeah.
was just one of those things. But you know what? I've had a couple of fun experiences with other artists in this industry or, people I've done business with before. And I kind of just was in a spot around the time that you guys were thinking of putting me on the team where I felt like anybody in the industry being kind to me wasn't genuinely being kind.
so you got
And
guarded.
I got guarded a little
Uh-huh.
bit. I was a little scared. I didn't know which decision was the right decision. I didn't know what was going to be too good to be true. And so I just kind of sat in and I just kind of observed and just looked around, see if I could see myself fitting in it. Gave
And
it
did you have a
couple
good
weeks.
feeling about me? Had you heard
Absolutely.
like
yeah.
good things about me, or had you like what
Mhm.
made you? Because I know you were guarded, and I
Mhm.
think you're still a little guarded. I see that.
Not too much anymore.
Not too much. I was
No.
going to say I see that starting to come down, but it took you a
Mhm.
while, Ren.
Took
you-
me a good amount of while, but you guys are practically family at this point.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome. But why me? Why Girls Inc? Why did you decide to jump in? Because
Mhm.
we're not going to get into your backstory on why you're guarded. I know
Mhm.
it.
Right.
You know, you were very honest with me about why, and I am sorry that happened to you, and I told you that would never happen to you here or with me.
Right.
Not ever, not now, not never.
Yeah.
And in time, you will see that with me.
Mhm.
But you didn't know that during the interview. So what?
Mhm.
Right? Did
Yeah.
you just like fuck it? I'm just gonna like take a leap of faith, or did you figure,
Yeah.
well, she must be okay? I mean, people like her.
Yeah. I have been watching you, Amy, and Michonne all since I was 16, around the time that I discovered permanent makeup.
Okay.
It was a mix of starstruck and then also she's kind of a celebrity to me. I don't know if I want to meet my celebrity and then get that image of who I think she is and
Like
kind
all
of modify
skewed.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but it was a big leap of faith for me. There was something when I walked in, because I've come in here so many times to buy product. Like if you pull up my name, you'll see I've come in here like 50 times
Really?
in the last 4 years before
Oh, that's
I
so
even
funny.
started Girlz
And I never
Inc.
ran into you into the lobby.
Never ran into you.
Yeah, every now and then I'll run
Mm-mm.
into somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's but usually I don't run into any of the customers, and I have nothing to do with the store. Like I don't know who buys from
Right.
us, who doesn't buy from us. Kat runs the whole store, so I don't
Mhm.
really have anything to do with that, and that's by design. I don't want to know,
Yeah.
who purchases from Girls Inc, who doesn't. I know that's just not my. It's not where my I'm better off not knowing.
Yeah.
I think it just keeps better relations with the industry and with artists and my students and whatnot. That's it's not anything that I need to take notice of. But
Yeah.
well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you took the jump and you're in.
Yeah.